feet above sea level. Now team, you probably noticed from our huge rate of speed this morning that ballooning can't exactly claim to be the fastest form of aviation. What we can claim though is that ballooning was the first form of aviation. So man flew in a hot air balloon well over 100 years before the Wright brothers ever got their little aeroplane off the ground. So it was to be the first manned flight of any aircraft. It took place on the 21st of November 1783, and on that day a couple of intrepid Frenchmen climbed aboard their hot air balloon, which in those days was made out of paper and silk. It was a fairly fragile and flammable combination. They carried on board with them a pail of wet rags to keep dabbing the balloon down as they flew along to stop it from catching on fire. And not having the sophisticated burner system that we've got this morning, their flight was basically straight up until the balloon cooled, and then they came straight back down again. And when they came into land, they would have had a fairly positive vertical down speed, but they wouldn't have had any way of being able to slow down. So I dare say they would have hit the ground with a pretty heavy sort of thud, possibly leg-breaking sorts of speeds. Certainly wouldn't have had the same control that we've got this morning, being able to fly high, fly low, skimming low across trees and things like that. They just wouldn't have had that much control over their balloon. Now you're probably wondering how they got the hot air inside their balloon back in 1783. Back then they actually thought it was smoke that they needed to put inside their balloon to get the lift, and it was quite by accident that they were filling their balloon with hot air at the same time. How they came to that conclusion is they used to see smoke rising on the tops of fires, and they thought, well, that must be some sort of gas that's light that rises. So they thought if they fill their balloon full of enough smoke, they should be able to get enough lift to lift the weight of 2 men. So that being the case, they set about burning anything that would create as much smoke as possible. So they burnt things like rotting meat, manure, mouldy old boots, wet straw, brandy-soaked rags, anything to try and create lots of smoke. So you'll appreciate that as they were flying along, all this putrid black smoke would have been pouring out of the bottom of the balloon. So it wouldn't have been the most pleasant of experiences for them. They were fairly adventurous, and I dare say possibly just a tad more adventurous